All right, so Ron DeSantis has officially suspended his 2024 presidential campaign, rightfully so. And Donald Trump has suspended the name The Sanctimonious. Let's check it out.
Okay.
He just said, will I be using the name Ron the Sanctimonious? I said, that name is officially retired.
Okay.
All right, now let's play Ron DeSantis and his statement on suspending his run at the presidency. Then we'll talk about it.
Nobody worked harder, and we left it all out on the field. Now, following our second place finish in Iowa, we've prayed and deliberated on the way forward. If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. But I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to attack him. Well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as on the coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents. The days of putting Americans last, of kowtowing to large corporations, of caving to woke ideology are over. I thank all of our passionate supporters.
All right, so Ron DeSantis, who was seen as the alternative to Trump, the less bombastic, the more poised, the more calm version of Trump, has he suspended his campaign because the writing was on the wall. I never supported Ron DeSantis. Yes, he's a great governor, and I would support him in a future run, possibly. At least I would have. 2028, I would have supported him. Right now, we'll see. But the writing was on the wall. I never got on the DeSantis train because I always felt like Trump needed a second term. The guy has been there. He's done it. He built the economy. He secured the border. He stood up against our foreign adversaries. He's a pro-life president. He did a lot of great things the embassy moving into Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. That was a big promise that he kept. And I think the writing was on the wall for Ron DeSantis. He spent lots of money. He spent a year, the last however many months in Iowa, basically living there, putting all of his resources into the state, and came up at a distant second. If he received about 30% of the vote, that's different, but he came in distant second place to Trump, and there was no path to victory. And I think that was smart. And him endorsing Trump was smart as well because, like he said, we can't go back to the yesteryears of the Republican Party, which Nikki Haley represents. So he knows that Trump was a great president. He said it himself on many occasions, specifically like his rallies and things like that. He said Trump did a lot of great things for this country, and he was the greatest president of his lifetime. I believe he said that. So he was smart to suspend his campaign. Now, at one point, it looked like Ron DeSantis was going to catch up to him back after he won a landslide victory, which I think that was where people started getting to his head. The people surrounding him got to his head. He just had this 20-point blowout in Florida, landslide victory, winning a second term. Now it's time to throw your hat in the ring and go up against Donald Trump and win the presidency. I think that was too much, too fast. He should have waited because he had 4 more years in Florida to continue to build off of his record, his track record of being a great governor, living up to his promises, and making Florida a great state to live in. It's always been a great place to live. That's why people were always moving there. Apparently so. But make it a more conservative place, a place for conservative values, a conservative bastion. So he should have built off of that record instead of throwing his hat in the ring and trying to be the alternative to Trump. Wait your turn, man. Let's give Trump a second chance. The guy who's been there and done that. Why would I want to go and support a knockoff? In my opinion, is what it felt like, in versus the real thing. The reason why I say knockoff is because these people were building him up to be this other Trump. The Trump light is what I'm trying to say. DeSantis on his own is great. If he's the top guy in the spot, going for the spot, yeah, I'll support him. But when we have the real deal, who's still capable of doing the job, is willing to do it, why not give him a second chance? There are many reasons why, but that's another story for another day. Now, do I support him in 2028, DeSantis? I don't know. I think he may have hurt his chances because of all the people, his surrogates, the people surrounding him in his campaign, did a lot of damage to him. I'm not saying it can't be undone, but I think a lot of people on the Trump side lost respect for DeSantis and the way he's gone about things. The way it's a lot of his supporters, the supporters on Twitter and all of that, are what the people in his campaign, or what made him look bad. I just know it. I just didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like it. It's not a good look, and I think that if there are other options in 2028, you might have somebody like Sarah Sanders. You might have Vivek. I don't know how you feel about him. I'm not sold on him 100% yet, but I think we could have a lot of options. Byron Donalds, I don't know, in 2028. So we'll see what happens. But of course, I would support Ron DeSantis over any Democrat. And I think he would do a good job. But I want the guy who's already battle tested, who's already been there in the swamp and knows how these things work. That's my guy. He's always been my guy. Speaking of Donald Trump, that's what I'm talking about. But at one point, it looked like he was getting closer. Going back to his blowout victory in Florida, right around, and when things, the start of the 2023, it was about a 13-point gap in the polling. He closed the gap to about a 12, 15-point game. And then once the indictment started happening, really when Trump went to Ohio to look at what was it, a train, the spill or something that happened in Ohio, whatever it was, that's when things started to turn around, in my opinion. Right around February, and then the indictment started happening in April, and it was just game over from there. His lead just kept getting bigger and bigger, and look at this, it ballooned to where it is now. It's 66% to DeSantis, 10.5%. You can't really compete with those numbers. These polls aren't, yes, polling, they're not votes. Polls aren't votes, but they're a snapshot of where people feel at the moment. And every poll was saying the same thing, that people wanted Trump as the nominee. The lead just kept growing from 15 to 30 to 35 to 40 and 50 points. In some cases, look at this, 71 to 10, 73 to 12. It's not even close. When somebody's pulling 73% of the vote, the writing is on the wall. Now, Ron DeSantis made a mistake he even admitted this, by not going on these networks and every talk show he could go on to get exposure. He didn't do it. He made a mistake, and he said that. I don't know if you listen to Todd Starnes. I think he's a great host, a great conservative radio host. Todd Starnes, I love his show. He tried to get Ron DeSantis on multiple times, and apparently the people in his campaign were nasty towards his producer. And he never went on the show, and now he regrets it. So these things make a difference. Would it have won him the nomination? Probably not, but I think he would have had a better chance, and he would have looked better in the eyes of Trump voters. Because people see that you're not going on these shows, you're only going on Fox News to talk to the voters. You're not going on all these other shows, these radio shows, these podcasts. You're basically pushing everybody away. Um, it's like you're going to your safe space, which is Fox News. That's the way it looked, the way it's perceived, in my opinion. So DeSantis has suspended his campaign. I think it was a smart thing to do. We'll see what happens in 2028, but right now we need to focus on the general. We see a lot of people supporting Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Tim Scott, multiple congressmen and congresswomen, governors. You see my governor, Greg Abbott, supporting him. Uh, this is the kind of support that we need behind our guy and get him over the finish line. Hopefully, they don't do anything shady like they did in 2020 with the laptop suppression that's exposed now, the illegal rule changes in the swing states with the mail-in ballots and things like that, which tipped the scale for Joe Biden in 2020. And yes, it did. But anyway, I want to leave it right there. DeSantis is done. Now it's Nikki Haley and Trump. He's going to clobber her. He will win the nomination. He's going to run away with the nomination, and we will see Trump versus Biden again, or Trump versus whoever else they want to prop up on the Democrat side. All hands on deck, though. Get out there and vote. Talk to people. Talk to your family members. Make sure that if you know somebody who is leaning on the conservative side, but they are not sure if they want to vote, try to make it happen so we can get this thing done. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.